Well, anyway, as I was trying to say when I had to have a little break here, but I'm actually using a video that is mine so that there's no copyright infringements as a background for this discussion. Getting straight back to the solutions that I would put forward in relation to the XPT is this. To have a cab car at one end, in other words, an existing XPT power car at one end of the set, and a locomotive at the other end. In other words, it's controlled like a cab car would be, as it would be the case in Britain and in the United States, and I don't know, but maybe other countries. To provide, it would also provide electricity and air conditioning and so on. They're rebuilding some NR class locomotives would be suitable for that, and therefore you wouldn't get the breakdowns that we've had in the past with the XPT. Secondly, they're going to build this XPT replacement train, which it may well be quite welcome to have, but I would suggest that it can be quite a long train. It could be eight cars or more in length, but I would suggest that it runs entirely by day, every day, from Brisbane to Sydney and vice versa. In other words, you've got a morning train and a night train, which takes, as you know, 14 hours. A XPT with probably you could have 2 sleepers on it instead of the 1, but at least the overnight train would be the XPT. This would also be the case with the Sydney to Melbourne route. I'm looking around my cabin, I can see in the background of that one, but anyway, that just shows you, by the way, an XPT sleeping compartment for day use. Car A, which incidentally I've recommended to many people to use the day use a car A, book in advance, get your compartment. Usually you can have one to yourself, sometimes there's 2, sometimes when it's very busy they can book 3 people in a compartment. So that's just an additional thought in relation to this XPT which I'm showing there now. Then I was about to say I would put the overnight trains 7 days a week Sydney to Melbourne and 7 nights a week Sydney to Brisbane and vice versa. One XPT set could do a day return Sydney to Tamworth with bus connection, perhaps through to Toowoomba or even to Brisbane if that is feasible in the running times. But in my opinion that would provide an excellent service. So there's going to be replacement trains for all of the current XPT services, but as I said, they're not going to scrap all of those cars and all of the Endeavour cars that they're going to replace and Explorer cars that they're going to replace. They would be what we call cascaded to other services. They might be running shorter services. They might be doing Sydney to Goulburn, and they might do a few services I consider that a couple of cars based in Griffith could run 3 days a week to Cootamundra and 3 days a week to Junee and connect to Sydney and Melbourne. So in a sense, that is just a few thoughts on the XPT and what could be done with it, in particular after this long-awaited XPT replacement from Spain is finally in service. There's at least one set anyway in Dubbo at the moment, and on that score I do feel that the first train to operate with the new cars would probably be the Central West Express from Sydney to Dubbo. Might even be 2 services a day, and then the depot is at Dubbo anyway for the new trains. So there's just a few little things I'd just put into the conversation, shall we say. And I do hope that something is done about the ideas that to save and to upgrade, and further to it, you might say. Now, I've had another discussion with a friend who's said what they need to do is upgrade the first class to have Spirit of Queensland style seats that are used in daytime. You don't have to have them as the day-night rail beds as we use up here, but for a daylight service, and you could have individual programs, so they could have controls and earphones and so on, so they could watch movies, TV shows, they could listen to music and so on. That would improve the amenity of the train. Okay, so thank you for viewing.